Hello everyone, welcome to another How Lucy's review. Today I'm reviewing Tacta. This is a new one by the Op Games, designed by Jason Tremblay. And I'd like to thank the Op Games for providing a copy for review. Connect, Cover, Conquer. A fantastic little card game here. It looks really cool on the table. Very cool cover. And just the kind of graphical design and how they produce this, I think turned out really well. It's a very quick game, less 20 minutes, 20 plus minutes. Really depends on how many rounds you want to play and different modes. So there's lots of different modes. As it says here, there's multiple ways to play. We'll talk about some of the variants. We'll kind of lay out what the basic version of this is. But there are some ways to play for big, small groups, small table space, large, normal table space. And so it's pretty cool. I think it's interesting. I mean, 7 and up, it's a real simple game. I think kids younger than that could easily play this. With 2 and up, as far as number of players, 2 or more players, I think that's an interesting choice. I would call it 2 to 12 players. Again, a great player count, very versatile to group sizes. It's a very simple little game, but any game that you can play 2 to 12 players is one to keep in the collection. I think is again, and it's fun too. But 2 to 12 players, that's really pretty nice. A lot of times people are asking me all the time, hey, what sort of games can I play with like 10 players? Tacta would be one of those. So there's a fast version. We'll get a kind of go into all of it. Again, based on the name here, Tacta combines meaning of Latin, Greek, several other languages, reflecting the game's essence of hands-on, strategic interaction, order, precision, and its physical playing surface. Very fun. So let's go ahead and open up the box, show you what's inside, talk about the quality of the rulebook, components, get into some of the gameplay, and some of my thoughts on Tacta. So, very nice. Again, more and more places have videos that you can watch instead of reading the rules. The rule book is great though. It has great examples, and it has the game is very simple, so you got some do's or don'ts. Really the setup and how to play, that's the game right there. We have some specifics saying, hey, this is yes, do this, don't do that. End of the game, scoring, example here, and then here's some other ways to play, as well as some house rules, and I've seen some interesting ones online already, kind of people posting about that. So you got note from the designer here on the back as well. So great rule book. I think it's real great. As far as the packaging and everything's works well. This insert is a good insert. Can easily pull out all the cards very easily. Don't have to struggle with that at all. As far as the card quality goes, they are good quality cards. They are not like a deluxe, like the linen finish type cards that are my favorite. But as far as other cards that are not linen finish, these are good quality cards. I think they're going to hold up well. As far as the, what you have here, you basically have this starting card that you're going to put in the center of the table. And then the basic version of the game, you're going to choose a color. Each deck is comprised of like the same cards. But you're basically going to choose 2, if it's a 2-player game, everyone's going to choose 1 deck. Of the colors, there are 6 different colors, and there are 18 cards in each deck. I'll get to some of the variation of play here, at the end. But the basic game, playing 2 players, everyone's going to take their deck. They're going to shuffle up the cards. The cards are double-sided, but they are the same card, right? So this is a card that has 3 dots on it, and it has that same kind of design, but you are able to flip those cards when you go to play those into the play area. The other kind of unique element to this is once you're gonna shuffle this deck up, you are not allowed to like look through your deck of cards at this point. You're gonna shuffle them up, and then it is basically frozen in your hand like so. So I can look at what's at the top and I can look at what's on the bottom, but I cannot look, beyond that. From there, you can play a card either from the top or the bottom into the middle here. So if I were yellow, maybe I'd go with this one first and say, I'm gonna play this one. And what I tend to do is choose the card and turn it over so that you can, you can play different house rules, but when you're playing the normal mode, if you're able to kind of shift this around and see where it goes, make sure it goes into the area that you want it to, and then it's going to work out for you. You can do it. If it doesn't work out, you're able to put it right back, and I still don't know what's coming up next. But as you play the card, this middle card has all sorts of different options for you, right? It is really intended to kind of take any card that you play here. What you're doing here and what you're limited to is basically these overlapping shapes. They need to be able to overlap appropriately. You can't just place a card directly over another card. If we have other cards, laid out here, you have to lay them down so that the kind of outlines all match up, continue correctly. So like if something's like that, obviously I can't go over. So maybe not obviously, but you can't go over cards. So like I would not be able to play this card here because it is overlapping this other card here, those other spaces. But I could play it here, for example. And really the objective is by the end, and you've played all your cards out, you want to be able to have the most dots. The dots are your points. So basically, how you lay the cards, you kind of lock in, or you're trying to lock in certain cards. Again, playing here, so already yellow here is in a little bit better shape. They got 3 points to 1. But you take turns. Again, you can also cover up certain spaces, right? So if I'm able to do this, I can cover it up. Any dots that you have on your cards that are open to the outside are vulnerable. Any cards like this that are already played that can't really be covered up are locked in, right? So basically I've locked in these 2 points. Yellow is locked in those 2 points at this point in time. And you just go back and forth. Again, you can look here and there. Some of the distinctions, right? So yellow may choose this one. This is a good opportunity to do that. Kind of lock in those 4 points. So you have different shapes here. You have the long ones here that basically go on across the cards. You have these triangles that either go kind of in the middle of a card or on the side, depending on how those go. You have the squares. Just kind of show you some of the other shapes. There's these ones here, which basically if you can go over. So like this is if I wanted to play this, you see here, I actually overlap this card and it doesn't really, the lines don't make sense. So I actually can't play that there. But I would really like to, right? Because then that would lock in 4 additional points for me there. But, playing this card otherwise, if I played it something like that, would make sense or be a valid play. However, that is going to leave those 3 dots to being covered up. So if purple here has theirs, they can just go ahead and place it like that and cover it up. So again, very simple gameplay. It is get a little bit of a learning curve when you're starting out and the shapes, but again, they make more sense as you go. Again, like this would not make sense to play, or I can't do this, right? Because the shape doesn't exactly line up. There are cards like this that does have that portion, that little end of the card there. So if this card wasn't here, I would be able to play that. Again, this is invalid though, because this doesn't really line up or match with an same shape element on this other card. And really that's the game. So you have some, again, the number corresponding here is the number of dots on each card. So some are definitely have more dots than others. And it's all strategic gameplay about how you're going to manage the table here. And again, hopefully set yourself up so that you can lock in some big points as you go along. The general game, as it has a play surface as well, right? So again, it may just be the table, but if this is like the end of the table, for example, that is another element that's going to lock this out, right? So if I can't play this if it goes over and it's going to leave the play area, the surface. That's basically another restriction for this game is the table. And it's going to spread out quite a bit. If you're playing on a general kitchen table type surface and starting in the middle, you're basically going to have pretty good area if you're playing 3 or 4. Again, there's 6 decks though. So the more you play, you are going to get into some situations where, hey, the playing surface actually comes into play with the game of, hey, this is going to limit where you can play your cards. So pretty cool. We'll talk about some of the different versions play on that. So if you have a smaller surface, if you have more players than 6 players, how do you manage that? And let's go ahead and just kind of talk about some of that now. So limited space. With these decks of cards, I'm going to just pull these back here. With these decks of cards, you'll also see, so there's numbers, there's symbols here on the cards as well. May have noticed. That is just to help with like color blindness and things like that. Again, very, very cool that they included that. It's something very simple to do, but doesn't always happen. And so I think that's cool that they've included, again, different symbols to differentiate the colors if that's going to be an issue. But again, you'll see here, I must not have played with this purple. No one's chosen purple yet because these haven't been shuffled up. You can actually see it goes through and you actually have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in circles. And then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in square and 1 through 6 in triangles. So each of the decks have those numbers. So they have 3 sets of 1 through 6 with those different things. So if you have a smaller play surface, you would basically take all your circles and shuffle them up. And then in that round, you would basically play 3 rounds. So with that limited space, you're only going to be playing with 1/3 of the cards at a time. So when you go play that, you're going to play those 6 cards, taking turns. You're going to score those points. Then you're going to set those aside. You're going to reset everything. Then you're going to take all the triangles. And you're going to shuffle those up. And then you're going to play another round. And then you play the final round with that other set. So basically 3 short mini rounds that allows you to play on a much smaller area, table surface. And, depending on the number of players, that's going to impact that as well, right? So quick round, you can basically follow the same rules, but remove one or two of the suits. So let's say you don't want to play a full game, you could remove all the squares from everybody's suit, and you're only going to be playing with 2/3 of the deck. You can team up. So basically, take a deck, shuffle up the 18 cards, and deal each team player 9 of those cards, and taking turns playing that way. The thing you want to watch out for if you're playing with the original rules and team is that it could, if people have a little bit of an analysis paralysis or things like that, and you're playing with 10 players, it's going to really kind of drag on. So one of the suggestions, the team game is fun, and if you want conversation and as people, play quickly, it can still work very, very well. But there is a version called free play, which is really fun as well. And basically, a great version to do with more players to cut down on that playtime. You're going to shuffle up that deck. You can, again, great team version. You're going to deal out, 9 to each player. You could even actually deal, have teams of 3. So again, technically it could go more than 12 players, but I feel like that makes the most sense. But you could have each team take, a suit. So someone's the circles, someone's the squares, someone's the triangles, and now you have 18. You could play this up to 18 players. But the free play, there are no turns. So basically, you're just going to quickly start playing cards out there as quickly as you can, trying to get the most points. The only stipulation here, so you can keep going. You're going to play these cards as quickly as you can, trying to secure those points, cover up other people's points. One of the stipulations is you cannot play on your own cards. So if that, I guess that works. There's like tiny overlap. If there's like slight overlap, it's usually generally okay. But anyway, you cannot in that free play play on top of your own cards. So that's one of the stipulations there. There is another mode called Sabotage. Basically, in that version, you're going to take all of one suit, say all your circles, and you are going to give that, this one I have played with a little bit. But anyway, and then yellow would take all of their circles and you would basically swap. So you are going to be playing with your opponents or the other teams. You're going to be playing with one of their colors. So that's some strategy of, playing theirs in a way that you can cover them up later with your cards, or securing them maybe like low points and providing options for you to get your other cards out that you're trying to get out. So again, lots of different versions or ways that you can play Tacta, and they're all fun. Again, very simple concept, but very cool gameplay. As far as the getting it to the table, and if you take this somewhere, it's definitely going to draw some attention, right? You have these kind of bright colors, the black, and they're just kind of all laid out, all crazy. It's going to bring some attention to it for sure. Counting these up points, very, very simple. You're just counting up all your visible dots of your color. And, but yeah, it's pretty great. You can also, play multiple rounds. You can play first to 100 points. Just lots of fun, different options with Tacta. So that's one of my biggest things with this one, is that it's just one of those games that is very, very flexible, which is really cool. That's my biggest thing with this, that I'm just very, very happy with, is that it's great and provides some interesting gameplay with 2 players. I think it does, it is a bit stronger with more players, at least four, to provide some more interesting decisions and things as you play. But very cool that you can play like turn-based as well as just a free play quick version. Again, there's some people who don't like quick games, so sticking with that turn-based version is a great option. Dealing with different actual play spaces. I don't know if I've really encountered a game that can be modified for your play surface. Like, hey, you don't have a lot of room? That's fine. Just play, 3 short rounds with these different suits. Or and then, game length. Yeah, let's just cut out a suit and play a shorter game. Or, hey, let's play a longer game. We'll just play multiple rounds. Or let's play teams. And so just one of those games that's very versatile and, really 2 to 12 players. You can go like up to 18. So there is a lot of variability that you can, flexibility with play groups. So, very fun. Definitely an interesting one to check out, have on your shelf, have available for different game nights. Been really enjoying it. So that's Tacta from the Op Games. That is how Lou sees it. If you have any questions, please feel free to put them in the comments below, and I'll be happy to address those when I can. Thank you for watching. Please consider liking and subscribing to the channel if you haven't already. Until next time, we'll see you later.